the cross. Now, if one were just, one must say that what the Holy Koran had said against Jews and Christians turned out ultimately to be true. Investigations of a very high standard today have proved that Jesus had really been saved from death on the cross. A study of the records shows that the Jews have never been able to reply to the question, how was it that Jesus died within 2 or 3 hours when his bones were not broken? This has led the Jews to put in another plea, that they killed Jesus by the sword, whereas the ancient history of the Jews does not show that Jesus was killed by the sword. The majesty and power of the divine being made it dark in order that Jesus might be saved. There was an earthquake. Pilate's wife saw a vision. The Sabbath night was about to fall, when it was improper to let a crucified body remain on the cross. The magistrate, because of the terrible dream, became disposed toward the release of Jesus. All this was brought about simultaneously by God to save Jesus. Jesus himself was made to go into a swoon that he might be taken for dead. Through terrible signs like the earthquake, etc., there were produced in the Jews cowardice and fear, and also fear of heavenly punishment. There was also the fear lest the corpses should remain on their crosses during the Sabbath night. Again, the Jews, seeing Jesus in a swoon, thought that he was dead. It was dark, and there was an earthquake and great excitement. They also became anxious about their homes. How must the children be feeling in that darkness and earthquake? There was also a terror in their hearts that if this man was a liar and a kafir, as they thought he was, why were mighty signs manifested at the moment of his suffering, signs which had not been manifested before? They were so upset that they no longer were in a position to satisfy themselves whether Jesus had really died, or what exactly his condition was. What had come about, however, was a divine design to save Jesus. This is hinted at in the verse, that is, the Jews did not kill Jesus. God made them believe that they had killed him. This circumstance encourages the righteous to place great trust in God, that God can save his servants as he pleases. And the Holy Koran contains also the verse, his name shall be the Messiah, Jesus, son of Mary, honored in this world and in the hereafter, and of those who are granted nearness to God. This means that not only here will Jesus have honor and eminence, and enjoy a greatness in the sight of ordinary people, but also in the hereafter. Now, it is evident that Jesus was not honored in the land of Herod and Pilate. He was, on the contrary, disgraced. The suggestion that he would be honored during his second coming to this earth is baseless. It is against the divine books and the eternal divine law of nature. There is, moreover, no proof of it. The truth, however, is that as Jesus, having had his release from those accursed people, came to the land of the Punjab and honored it with his visit, God gave him great eminence. Here he met the 10 lost tribes of Israel. It seems that most of these Israelites had adopted Buddhism, and some had degenerated into idolatry of a very low kind. But with the coming here of Jesus, most of them returned to the right path, and as there was an exhortation in the teaching of Jesus to believe in the coming prophet, the 10 tribes who came to be known in this land as Afghans and Kashmiris ultimately all became Muslims. So Jesus came with great honor to this land. There has been discovered recently a coin in this very land of the Punjab, on which is inscribed the name of Jesus, on whom be peace, in Pali characters. This coin belongs to the time of Jesus. This shows that Jesus came to this land and received kingly honor. The coin must have been issued by a king who had become a follower of Jesus. Another coin has been found with the figure of an Israelite. It seems that this, too, is the figure of Jesus. The Holy Koran also has a verse which says that Jesus was blessed by God wherever he went. So these coins show that he received great honor from God, and that he did not die until he had kingly honor. Likewise, the Holy Koran contains the verse, O Jesus, I shall clear thee of these charges. I shall prove thy innocence, and shall remove the accusations brought against thee by Jews and Christians. A great prophecy this, which means that the Jews alleged that Jesus, having been crucified, became, God forbid, accursed, and thus forfeited the love of God, that Jesus' heart, as the word curse necessitates, turned away from God, that is, he came to hate him. His heart became enveloped by a thick veil of darkness. It came to love evil and to shun good. It broke away from God and came under the sway of Satan. There was enmity between him and God. The same accusation that he was accursed was brought by Christians, but Christians, in addition, foolishly combine two contrary and opposite positions. They say Jesus was the Son of God, but they also call him accursed. And what is more, they admit that one who is accursed is the son of darkness and the devil, or is the devil himself. So, these were the dirty charges brought against Jesus. The prophecy contained in the Koran, however, points out that there was to be a time when God would clear Jesus of these charges. This is that time. The innocence of Jesus has no doubt become established in the sight of thoughtful persons by the evidence of our holy prophet, for he, as well as the Holy Koran, have testified that the charges brought against Jesus, on whom be peace, are all unfounded. But this evidence was a little too subtle and too much in the nature of an argument to carry conviction with ordinary people. Divine justice, therefore, required that just as the crucifixion of Jesus was a visible and well-known event, so should his purity become demonstrated in a manner visible to all, and the same has come to pass. The innocence of Jesus is founded not on mere argument, but has become demonstrated in the most palpable way. For hundreds of thousands of people have, with their physical eyes, seen that the tomb of Jesus, on whom be peace, exists in Srinagar in Kashmir. Just as he was crucified at Golgotha, that is, at the place of Sri, so has his tomb been found at the place of Sri, that is, Srinagar. The word Sri occurring in the names of both places is very striking indeed. The place where Jesus was crucified was called Gilgit or Sri, and the place where in the latter part of the 19th century the tomb of Jesus has been discovered is also called Gilgit or Sri. It appears that the place called Gilgit in Kashmir suggests the word Sri. This town was probably founded in the time of Jesus, and as a local memorial to the event of the cross, it was named Gilgit, that is, Sri, S-R-I. Like Lhasa, which means the city of one worthy of worship, this word is of Hebrew origin and suggests the city founded in the time of Jesus. Reliable reports in the Hadith show that the Holy Prophet said that Jesus was 125 years of age. Besides, all the sects of Islam believe that Jesus had two unique things about him, things which are not to be found in any other prophet, namely, 1, he lived to a full old age, that is, to 125 years. 2, he traveled in many parts of the world and was therefore called the traveling prophet. It is evident that if he had been raised to the skies when he was only 33 years old, the report of 125 years could not have been true, nor could he have traveled so much while he was only 33. Not only are these reports found in the reliable books of Hadith, they have been so well known among all the Muslim sects that it is difficult to think of anything which has been more widely known among them. Kanz-ul-Ummal, Volume 2, which is a comprehensive book of Hadith, has on page 34 a Hadith from Abu Huraira. God directed Jesus, on whom be peace, quote, O Jesus, move from one place to another, go from one country to another, lest thou shouldst be recognized and persecuted. Again, in the same book, on the report of Jabbar, there is the Hadith, Volume 2, page 71. Jesus always used to travel. He went from one country to another, and at nightfall, wherever he was, he used to eat the vegetation of the jungle and to drink pure water.